between ODM and UDA. Very interesting pronouncements or demands from the ODM side, demanding 50% share of government. Wakili, what do you think? Do you see that as a game changer?
Okay, not a game changer per se, but a reality which has been for some time. Since 2002, coalition politics have been our mainstay. In 2002, Kibaki and Anak only could win emphatically once they became a rainbow coalition of some sort. In 2007, once the NAC imploded, you had a case of Kibaki cobbling together a PNU kind of a coalition. And ODM then, even though it was seen as a party, it was a movement of different personalities. They had their famous Pentagon, and that's why it fell apart soon after the election. Just like every other elections in Kenya, we elect around personalities and parties that only live within, by the time we go to the next election cycle in Kenya, the last 20 years has always been a new coalition, a new team altogether. In 2013, another coalition. In fact, 2013 coming forward is the time then we are now having what we call hardening of two major coalition blocks. So that in 2012, you had a case for CORD, which was bringing almost 3 parties. At that time, you had UDF or the mother party to ANC of Mudavadi, and then you have Ford Kenya, then you had ODM. On the other side, you had URP and TNA. 2017, fast forward, again, those ones collapsed. It became a new chapter altogether. It now became a new Jubilee coalition and a new parties. And then you had CORD expanding to NASA. And then 2022 was, which I feel is a clear break. We are now almost the American way of dealing, where you have 2 major blocks. And what is happening then going to 2027, there's a real possibility, which is now coming to fruition, of the same case as 22. We'll have 2 hardening blocks, where you'll have the United Opposition, as they're trying to figure out. Then you have the Kenya Kwanza, which is now an expanded one. For ODM, it's a survival mode. Parties in Kenya live as much as their party leader. The life of a party is tied to the party leader. And I think the president is trying to break that jinx, because every other party in Kenya whose leader has gone to live or died or whatever the case, the party dies. So I find that it's more or less like a survival game for ODM, but it's a win-win for both. Why? When ODM is posturing and say 50%, you would understand where they're coming from. They're trying to up their stakes. I was looking at the numbers.
Do they have the gravitas to make such demands at this point?
They have a reason, and I would wish to disagree with Mutunga briefly. If you look at the numbers, UDA has 143. ODM has 89. Those are the 2 major parties. So if you look at that matrix, it is 2-3. So he's right, UDA is bigger, but not double. Number 2, coalitions would narrow that. If you look at the coalitions then, Kenya Kwanza coalition was ahead with 191, but the Azimio was closer with around 171, except